Hey there, welcome to another episode of Watch Soup, and we made it to our regularly slotted time, right? I mean, right, even your dog's, scratching. I mean, he knows, or
Yep,
she knows back there. But
they're going live. I better scratch myself and make a
yeah,
lot of noise.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, hey, Clayton, what's up, man? What's going on?
She's literally having some sort of fit back there.
Oh,
I'm doing well. Yeah, had a good weekend. Had a little date night with my wife last night,
very
which was
nice.
good. We've been kind of two ships passing in the night with work. Her work
Yeah,
schedule is just opposite of mine. I went to Metallica a couple weeks ago. I was sick before that,
yeah.
so we haven't had a date night like this whole summer. So we went out to a nice dinner and went axe throwing.
I've never
And
done that. How was that? Is that
that
fun?
was fun, and they actually had like
They
a
serve
project.
booze. They serve booze with that. Like, isn't that like
Yes, we were drinking while doing it. Yeah, um,
how's that safe?
oh, they're pretty strict. There's somebody watching at all times,
Okay.
and this was so it's a slab of wood, but
Yeah.
this was like a projector target, so it had a bunch of games. So there was like a traditional, like kind of like darts, sort
Hmm.
of, and then there was a zombie one where there's zombie heads that come up,
Oh,
and then there's also it's mixed in with like actual human people who you can't axe because they're like the innocent victims.
right.
So if you hit one of those, you get negative points. So that was fun. Yeah, so that was cool. And then yeah, we have a casino by here, so we stopped by there, and
Look at
there
you
was some live
guys.
music. Yeah, so
Yeah.
hey, that should be good now for God. Wait, set us up into the fall.
Right, 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 right.
And I released a
Oh,
podcast today, so that's good too.
it
Finally,
sounds like an action-packed weekend, man.
yeah.
Sure. What do you have on rest this evening?
I am wearing the Vogard world timer where you turn the bezel and the hour hand moves to that city and
Okay.
tells you what time it's in. So really cool watch. I think I said before
Yeah.
IWC bought that technology and put it in their time zoner. So
Nice.
they bought the
Very nice.
intellectual property to
Yeah. See,
that. So
that's like a interesting piece that in your collection that you can refer to. Like to me, that's like watch collecting, right? You know what
yeah,
I mean? It's not just like getting the latest Seiko, which is fine, or whatever. You
the
you
newest
have
hype release or something. Yeah,
right, but you have something that is very original, and on its own, and you won't. First of all, you're not going to see that kind of watch on anybody's wrist anywhere soon, anytime, right? I mean, like
right.
it's not common. And then the fact that the movement is special enough that IWC purchased it,
Yeah.
from
Well,
and so
there's one drawback with it. So when you're messing around with the time zone that much, the date gets thrown off because sometimes you
mm,
go forward in time or you go backward in time. So it's a weird mechanism to like reset the date. I
mhm.
was doing that and it made the hour hand a little off. So
Yeah.
the hour hand, if you can notice, the hour hand is a little off of the nine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
So
yeah, I can see
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah.
And no, my watchmaker won't touch it because it's a specialized thing. And the AD I bought it from tried and they couldn't get it to fix. I've contacted Vogard. They're, they weren't allowed to sell these watches anymore after IWC purchased the IP. They apparently are still servicing them, but I've reached out like 3 times and nothing. So
Oh, man.
that's, it's a cool watch, but
Yeah.
maybe one of the drawbacks of having something a little out of the ordinary because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it fixed. The ironic thing is keeping like amazing time. This watch is from 2007, and I was just tracking the movement just to see if that. And no, it's like Kosk. It's running great,
That's
but
amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing. Do you think is there any chance that IWC would take a look at it?
maybe I could try that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Good idea. Actually, never thought of that.
know. Hopefully you can get some resolution because that'd be kind of neat, right? I mean, cool looking watch. Very, very
Yeah.
different.
How about you, man? How are you?
Yeah.
Busy weekend.
Busy weekend. I got the GP Seahawk. Yeah, just kid stuff, family stuff, all weekend long. It really kind of like we were talking pre-show. Like I can't even remember half the stuff I did over the weekend, but it went pretty quick. I actually now I remember I had like Friday off, and so I was we have our driveway, is starting to get some cracks, right? And
Mhm.
I'm just doing some. I did some patchwork on it to triage, these alligator cracks that it has. We plan on in the next couple of years ripping the asphalt out and just doing like a rock driveway, right? Gravel. So it's no. I mean, I don't want to spend the money and get it like re-asphalt and repave because to me, again, in the next couple of years, we're gonna get that done. So, but anyway, so I did that, and I feel like like a man, like working
That's man work.
like
Yeah.
man work, right? It got a big blowtorch, like burning up the weeds that are in the cracks. That's
Yeah.
awesome too.
Just eat
But
like a drumstick. Just
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Um, but right, right. But yeah. So
Cool.
typical weekend. Um, let's say hello to the chat first, right? And then we'll jump right into the soup. Let's see. James is here. Greetings, super friends. Oh, I see what you did there, James.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
ATC_ED. Hey, saying hello from Dubai. Awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you. Thank you for watching.
Bruno is here. What's up, Bruno? We've been wearing his new Traska Wanderer GMT. Caliber is here. Good to see you. Sympathy for the bezel.
Oh, thanks,
Watchdog
man.
Pod back, baby. Yep. Awesome. Awesome.
You're always so kind. Thank you.
Yep. KR Joy is here. What's going on, KR? James, he's wearing his VC Renaissance for a day before he leaves for NYC tomorrow. Okay, cool. Well, safe travels, James, and thanks you for joining us this evening. Hey, let's get right into it. We're gonna talk about a couple of videos, and then we're gonna play like a little a fun game. Clayton and I are gonna play with each other's collections. I don't know how that's gonna go, but we'll see how it goes. But let's get started. I'm gonna kick off
punching each other over the internet here.
Yeah. Hey, Jenni Elle's 11 unspoken rules when wearing a wristwatch that are broken. Anyway, let's get right into it. Jenni Elle with a video about the 11 unspoken rules of wearing a wristwatch, and these are her rules, right? Number 1, leather straps and water do not mix. And that is kind of like a self-explanatory one, right? If you have ever owned any kind of leather product, and it's just not, and it's not just mixing with water, like taking a watch with a strap into the water, but it's also beware of sweat, right? I mean, it's that can also ruin a strap. And her quick suggestion was like, if it's in the summertime, just switch it up. Put like a rubber strap, put something else on there to maybe get more life on the strap. And this is like, I mean, I know it sounds like an obvious one, and I figured maybe we'll just give a quick take on each one of these as we go. This is not, I figured, it does sound like an obvious one, but I remember when I first got the GP, I got it they sold it to me on a leather strap, and I didn't think anything of it. Like, I kind of was getting into watches. I mean, I knew this was a dive watch, but I didn't really put it together. I figured, why would they, this must be some special leather that could go underwater, right? Because like, why would they sell? I mean, I was very, very young and like not too, too with it, right? So, so like I would wear that watch like all the time in the summer, in the winter, and in the water. I took it in the water with wearing a leather strap, and I destroyed that strap. I mean, I destroyed that strap.
So what actually happens when you do that?
Like it's just like it dries up, right? And it kind of crackles and falls apart. Especially the keepers were like the first signs where things were something was happening, and like it like dried up. So I must have, maybe I took it in the ocean. I don't know, man. It was some crazy times. There was a lot of drinking going on in those days. You know what I mean? So something like that may have happened. But now it's like, yeah, of course I wouldn't do that, and I actually have it back on an original rubber strap. So.
And they make rubberized leather straps too. I know I have one for my Moser, so I can wear it in the summer months. Yep. So it gives the appearance of leather, but can kind of withstand the elements of sweat, especially sweat. But yeah, I'm not getting that thing near water. But I've been caught in the rain in it a few times, and you feel pretty good about the watch's chances and the strap's chances.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
The key is like, if you're not hung up on always having like OEM straps, right? You just have like several straps in a rotation, right?
right.
Because they say the thing about like dress shoes, right? You should have like a couple of pairs and then rotate them because you'll get longer, get
I do that
longevity
with
out
my
of those.
running shoes because I
Yeah.
wear them like all day, every day. So
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they also just smell terrible, but also so they withstand. I found these great. This is way off topic, but I found these great shoe deodorizers they're bananas. They
Uh-huh.
look like bananas, and as you can tell, they're getting older because they ripen like bananas. So it's really cool. But
Oh, that
yeah,
is, yeah, 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 yeah.
I need those in the worst way with what I do for a living and how long I wear my running shoes every day. So they're really cool. Just Google like banana air fresheners on
That's
Amazon.
funny.
Yeah, they're awesome. I bought a few of them.
Yeah, to piggyback on your totally off topic, but running shoe kind of
Oh,
thing. Um, you got me? Did I?
yeah, I think you. Yeah, there you
Okay.
are.
Okay. To piggyback on your sneaker topic, that and it's totally off topic from what we're talking about. Hoka's, man, I have a pair.
Yeah.
They're the best. It's the best sneaker I've ever had.
Oh, good. I'm glad you
It's
like them.
I've had it. I've had it for like at least 6 months, right? And I
Hmm.
was having some issues with the side of my feet, like there's some pains and whatnot, and I was wearing like Chucks, and I'm like, yeah, I probably should wear something with comfort. They're expensive, but it's worth every penny. And I swear to God, I have it marked on my calendar every year. I'm just gonna just buy a new one, toss it, just buy it, and just keep it like going. They're
Yep.
worth the price. They're worth the comfort. I feel like a different person. Anyway, okay, number two.
Yeah,
Let's
we
go to
could
number
go
two.
off on. I have a lot to say on that, but no, that's good.
Uh, wear it on your wear your watch on your non-dominant hand. Seems like a no-brainer. I'm left-handed though, and I've been
Mm,
wearing my watch on my left wrist this whole time. And if I put it on my non-dominant hand, my right wrist, it's just too foreign. I've been wearing. Look, this is the life of a lefty, right? We have to live by the righty rules. We have to learn how to cut scissors, with right-handed scissors. When I started playing baseball when I was younger, they made me bat righty, and then I was terrible. And then like a year or two later, I switched to lefty, and then everything was fine. I was able to hit, right. But yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. So wear it on your non-dominant wrist, because chances are you're not gonna, you do a lot of things with your dominant wrist. You might damage the watch or nick it up or whatnot if that's important to you to keep it looking as good as you can. What do you think? I mean, obvious, right? I mean,
Pretty obvious. And I always wear a Garmin, or now I bought the new Samsung Galaxy watch
mm,
to kind of replace my Garmin. So I wear that on my right all the
yeah,
time. But
yeah,
yeah, always a regular wristwatch on the left. Yeah.
yeah. Number three, don't go too big. If you ever knock into something, right? She's I can't even read my handwriting. I always do this, Clayton. I always like write these things too quickly. So don't go too big. Like she's like, ever been in a situation where you have a backpack and you knock into a person? Same thing like the watch, right? If it's
Right.
just way too big, if it protrudes too much from your wrist, and only if you're like really worried about like the condition, right? If you can't bear to have it scratched or knocked up or nicked up, you know what I mean?
Right.
Don't go too big. If you have a small piss, but you love the way Panerais look, maybe not. Maybe Panerais not the watch for you.
It doesn't
Um,
matter how big of a watch. Such an arm swinger that I could
I
wear a
know.
34 millimeter watch and I'd still bash it off of stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like I am infamous into knocking my hands into doorways. Like
yeah,
when I'm walking a door, I just like I cannot not do it. It's just like it's the doorway could be like this big, I'll still knock into it somehow. Like I'm just like a pretty clumsy that way. Um, Number four, staring is not the best idea, right? And even Jenny is guilty of this. She was recounting a story where she was at the dentist and her dentist had a Daytona, a Rolex Daytona, and she commented on it and saying, "Hey, nice watch." And it obviously, she could tell, obviously made him feel very, very uncomfortable, and he was trying to, change the subject. So, just beware when you stare at somebody or you comment that not everybody wants to talk about their watches, right?
right.
Especially, I would imagine, like if it's something like pricey as a Daytona, or like, has a big like target on it, right? That could be off-putting if somebody, makes a comment, right? Um, Matching your metal. She says, do whatever you want actually with this one, right? She's like, but there is like this thought where you have to like, match your belt to your cufflinks to your watch, like the metal, right? Or same thing with like matching your shoes, maybe to your, and not, this is not her saying this, but like matching your shoes to your watch strap or stuff like that. This is where two tones come in. You have the best of both worlds, kind of, when you have this. But she says, do whatever you want, right? But I mean, that's an unspoken rule at times. And number
Right.
six,
I do
be
whatever I want. Yeah. I
yeah,
don't ever
exactly.
pay attention. Right.
Right, right, right. Um, Number six, be aware of your surroundings. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. If you're traveling and you're wearing a luxury timepiece, just beware. I mean, there's always stories of people um, having their watches stolen from them in touristy areas, and subway stations or subways and the crowded situations. So just be aware of your surroundings. Number seven, read the room. Okay, like you may be into your watch, you may love your watch, but you may be in a room where like people like are not into watches, or maybe it's like you're an executive and you're not in a meeting with people who are not executives, like or vice versa. If you're in a meeting with your executives and you have a luxury watch, like people may look at that, and say, okay, this guy's got a really fancy watch, like what's going on here. So just read the room. I was never a big fan of bringing my high-end luxury watches um, to work, right?
Right.
Just because of that reason. By the time I started collecting or had some Rolexes, I was already working from home. But I wouldn't even go to like, out to like lunch with a friend. Like I wouldn't. I stopped wearing my Rolexes around, like even like my friends, because I just didn't. I just felt like I was being judged, even though that might have been all in my head.
Yeah,
So I
that's
mean,
interesting. I haven't had a real job since I work with dogs. They don't care what I wear.
yeah,
They'll slobber on anything. But yeah, I've been like I don't share watches on my public Facebook page, on my personal Facebook
yeah, neither do I.
page.
Yeah,
No, never. Only on where I can hide behind the podcast name, like on Instagram or something.
yeah.
That's the only time I'll do it. But I was talking to a lawyer at a watch meetup, and he had a Milgauss on, the Z Blue, and I
Hmm.
asked him, if he wears that in the courtroom, and he said, "Never. Nope. I wear something else. You can't be sympathetic if you're wearing a bright blue shiny Rolex." So
Oh,
he's
that's
like, "Yeah,
interesting.
you never." He's like, "I never wear it in court."
See, I have a friend who's a lawyer, and he says all the lawyers they wear Rolex.
Huh? Yeah.
I mean, they all dress in suits, especially when they go in front of a judge. But all of them, they all wear like high-end luxury
Maybe in
watches.
front of the jury wear something else. I don't know. That was his
Yeah,
reasoning. I don't
maybe it
know.
could be.
Interesting.
It could be. I mean, I could see, like, I know, probably like if you're in front of the judge, maybe you want to present yourself as the best possible version of yourself, and if you in your mind thinks that's a luxury watch, maybe that's what people think. Also, a luxury watch, maybe that means a success, and that the judge would read that. But in front of a jury, right? I mean, like maybe that's not like what you want to do.
Right.
Interesting, interesting. Um, Number eight, stop wearing your watch over your sleeve. I mean, like, do we need to tell this to anybody? It's just like, it's
Is
just
that
a
just an
weird look.
Instagram thing, or do people actually do that? I see it
Yeah,
on there, but
I think I think I feel like a lot of people in the '70s did that. I don't know why. I'm
yeah,
just making that. I just don't know. I don't know why, but I just feel like that's what they did. She Jenny says, unless you're a diver, an astronaut, or like a pilot, there's no reason why you should wear
right.
your watch over your sleeve. Um, Stop checking out your watch. Number nine, especially if you're with somebody who's like not even into watches, right? It could be interpreted as you showing off, or that most cases probably like that you're impatient, that you're looking to leave, the conversation and
Right.
whatnot. So stop checking your watches out. And I'm guilty of this at times. just admiring the watch. Maybe not like while I'm having a conversation um, with someone, but like if I'm like sitting somewhere, like like in a waiting room, like I'll do that, and then I'll catch myself, and I'm like, yeah, probably shouldn't be doing that, right?
Yeah.
Um, Number 10, handle with care. Especially when you're exchanging watches. She was recounting a story where someone had, she took off her watch and she, presented it to somebody because somebody wanted to take a look at it, and they like, like bumped it into something, or they like hit the table with it, I think it was. And for her, she was like, oh, and she said, just because you may be a little bit rough with your watches, don't assume that the other person is. You just treat
Right.
everything with respect. And I think that's very sound advice. Like I get a lot of watches in for review from subscribers and friends, and sometimes once in a blue, a brand will send me something to review, and I'm like extremely careful. Like I'll wear it for a little while because I want to get the feel of the watch, but I'm not doing anything. I'm not like, it's like when the kids are not home and I don't have any chores to do, and I'm walking outside where I can swing my arms freely without hitting the door jamb. But I'm always like, I got like this nice little cloth here, and then I have like a little, like, basically like a table mat, dinner mat, like, that I use, and that's nice and soft, and then that's where I'll set the watch when I'm working with it on a video or whatnot before I start the video. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I know you're pretty. I wouldn't say rough with your watches. You wear your watches,
I
but I'm sure
do.
you have the
Yes.
the, the decency and the respect when you're handling somebody else's watches.
Oh, right. Yes.
Careful.
Especially at like a meetup, I won't even turn the bezel without
Oh yeah,
asking,
yeah,
like, is
yeah,
it
yeah,
okay? Or God forbid, like unscrew the crown or something.
yeah, yeah.
You ask before you do that. And most people might be cool with it. But yeah, you definitely want to ask before you do that. I remember when we were in Random Rob's group, and he would do like the tours of
Yeah.
watches.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember how I did it, but I really marked up one of the complete accident. I can't remember now how I did it, but man, I texted him. I was like, "Oh God, I'm so sorry. I scratched up this watch." He's like, that's fine. Don't worry about it. It happens
Yeah.
on tours. Don't
Yeah.
worry
Yeah.
about it."
Yeah.
But I felt so terrible because even with those, even if they came in already scratched, like I wouldn't even size the bracelet half the time. I would
Mm-hmm.
just put a strap on it or something
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I didn't want to do any damage. I felt so bad when that happened. I think it was like it had just a regular like stainless steel bezel. I think I chipped the bezel. I can't remember how I did it,
Oh.
but I felt terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, for sure. And finally, avoid overspending. You know, don't get caught up. Um, Take a breath, sleep on it. Don't be so impulsive when making purchases, watch purchases, and decisions like that. And I think that's sound advice that
Right.
you know is kind of hard. That's a hard one. That's a hard one to follow.
Well, that's kind of
Um,
what my podcast was about today. To be had out there, I just don't feel like spending a lot of money on a watch right now.
hmm
It's not. It's just not a great use of my money right now.
Yeah.
So that's not always going to be the case. I hope. I don't think. But even when I talked about in that podcast the refund I got from the Breitling, and just she said I could put it towards another watch, and I think I even mentioned it last week.
Yep.
Looking at the lineup, $5,000 didn't get me near what I wanted. I have to chip in extra money, and I just said, I don't know. This is a really irresponsible decision right now. Yeah, so I'm just not there at the moment. I
Yeah.
have some expensive watches I can wear and enjoy those, and I'll just hold tight for a while, and hopefully someday feel like I can buy one again. It's just like if you have to sell it, that then it's. I mean, I tried to
Yeah.
sell that Hermes, and boy, that was a rough. I
Yeah.
finally did it, but I lost it. I priced it well,
Yeah.
and they were still tire kickers who were
Yeah.
eventually won. I sold it for less than I wanted to.
Yeah. It's so hard to sell. Selling is very, very hard. So that's why, like taking that extra time for me. is good advice. To
Yeah.
sleep on it, it's the good advice. Like yesterday, like I was like, you know what? Like I had a day. I had a day yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I deserve a Laureato, right? And so like, I'm like scouring the internet, and I'm like, wait, what are you doing?
Right.
I can't do this, And so, this too shall pass, right? So, and it
Or you have a
passed.
few drinks, the drunk buy. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's a famous one, right?
yeah.
You have a few beers and you
Right.
start watch shopping
Yeah.
later at night. Boy, that you're weak and susceptible at that point. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, before we move into our next topic, let's catch up with the chat and see what people are saying. Hey, Wayman says watches feel weird on his left wrist. Okay. I wear it on the right because it's easier to fuss the clasp with the dominant hand. It doesn't have anything to do with banging up the watch. Okay.
mm.
Um, UWC says I double wrist at home and now it feels natural on either wrist. Oh, good for you, man.
Yeah, I
Um,
like to. I get so used to looking because I think I looked at my smartwatch more for the time than I
yeah.
do my
I look at my
actual like
phone.
wristwatch.
Yeah, yeah.
So now I'm like looking at my right wrist more. So maybe I should start wearing a regular watch on my right wrist. Be
Don't do
interesting.
it. No, don't do it. Caloris says, "What? Can't wear my watch over my sleeve anymore?" Oh, stop it! I know you're just joking. James is saying my watch is not only jewelry; it is ballast. So when I wear a watch on my dominant or both wrists, I will drop my phone when I check the time. Um, I don't know if I read that right. Anyway, let's go. It's 9:30 on a Sunday.
Yeah, right.
Bruno, don't wear metal bracelets on the same wrist as your watch.
Oh, that's a good one because that'll
That's
scratch
oh
up.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yep. You see that a lot with maybe non-watch people, but even some watch people, like some watch pictures online in groups. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm not sure I would do that.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely not. Okay, so let's move on to our next video, and that is watches with Dennis. Do you want me to put up his collection up while you go through it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, you can probably just put the picture of the three of them. Then there, yep.
Yeah.
So they'll just be up. They can be static. That's
Yep.
better, probably. Yeah. So I like this channel. He has some good stuff, and he actually has the same Citizen Chronomaster, the Citizen that I have. So that's probably the only one I've seen on YouTube. So, yeah, he's a cool guy. He's doing a watch roast. He's had requests from his viewers to have him roast their 3 watch collections. And, he said, these are jokes by consent. So relax, people. This is all a joke meant to be in good fun. He has the permission of the person who actually obviously sent him the pictures of the watch. And it's somebody we know, Neff. We've been in groups with Neff before,
Yeah.
I believe. So I haven't talked to him in a long time, but hello, Neff. And he said, yeah, if you are offended by this, just stop watching because it is negative. He is going to make fun of the watches. But again, it's all with Neff's consent. So the first one on the left there, the Tissot PRX Digital. Dennis says it's a 35 millimeter watch. So for starters, it's a child's watch. If you're going to wear a watch that small, you must be a child. He hates the display. This was an attempt to revive a design from the 1970s. The problem with the 1970s, but besides the amount of cocaine and disco music, was that this was the beginning of digital display technology. They couldn't figure out how to make it aesthetically look pleasing. So we can do better than this, Tissot. Come on. This is 1970s. It's 2024 now. You can make it look better than this. He thinks the gold version is kind of fun. It leans into the cheese a little bit, but this silver one is just boring. It's not even fun. It should be kind of kitchen fun, but it's just not. Asymmetrical case he doesn't like with the mismatched number of pushers. He doesn't like that. He said this watch truly captures what this watch was about in the 70s, an abomination. He hates this watch. The second watch is the Bulova Computron D Cave. I think there's like an NFT component to this watch. He didn't mention it, but if I'm remembering, and I don't understand NFTs, so he thinks it's just plain ugly and doesn't look good. Um, he knows it means to be weird, but he just doesn't think it works well. If you can notice there, if you zoom in, the strap doesn't integrate to the case very well. It looks very strange to me.
Yeah, I don't think
The display doesn't stay on very long either, like 3 seconds. He's surprised Neff was even able to capture a picture of it. And I remember when I had the casquette, same
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like it would not stay on for very long, so it was a miracle to press the button and then try to get the camera to focus and take a picture. So, yeah, good on Neff for doing that. He thinks the Pulsar is a much better style of watch like this with the digital display than this. It also has mineral crystal. It's not even splash resistant. Um, Definitely better options with this style of watch. And third, the final collection here of Neff's, or final watch of Neff's that he's critiquing here, the Oris Big Crown Pointer Date. It's an icon. It's been around forever. So many different variations of the Pointer Date. And Neff chose the worst one possible to buy and own. Doesn't have the in-house caliber, so enjoy your 38 hours of power reserve with 1950s Solita technology. Ouch. Dennis does not love cathedral hands. He thinks they are bulbous, belong on pocket watches. It's just his least favorite handset. It's sort of outdated with modern watches, even though this one's kind of going for a vintage aesthetic a little bit. It's 40 millimeter, so too big of a watch that desperately leans into that vintage aesthetic. It's difficult to read the pointer date. Also, it's interesting, but it's a little difficult to read at a glance if you want to know what date it is. He also thinks there's too much negative space in the middle of the dial. However, his biggest issue with this watch is the two-tone case. He said, first, the 80s called and they want their two-tone back. And second, it's not normal two-tone. It's not steel and gold. It's steel and bronze. It just makes no sense to him, other than maybe a stainless steel case back so you don't get a green wrist. But, he would rather have a PVD gold, fake gold two-tone watch than bronze. The patina of bronze, it ages and looks weathered, and then stainless steel just looks ageless all the time unless it's scratched up. He said it's just a weird marriage, and he just does not quite get it. It looks strange. It looks like a child designed these with Play-Doh. And then in summary here, he just thinks the Bulova is the worst of the three. He said, in fact, if Neff were in a burning building, Dennis wouldn't even save him.
Wow.
He likes Neff, nothing personal, but it would mean one less Computron in the world, and that's what's most important to him. So, ouch. This is good. Obviously, in good fun. They're friends, obviously, and I think Neff, even in the comment section, got a real crack out of this video. So, what do you think? What do you think of the video? What do you think of these watches?
Yeah. I just want to highlight. I'll tell you in a second, but Unachieved Watch Collector. To be honest, Dennis, it was easier on a
Oh
collection
God,
watch.
yeah.
Yeah, Archie would have smoked this.
Oh God, yeah.
I- I-
Rolex.
Exactly. Hey, I know this video was done. Dennis did a great job, right?
Yeah.
Like just like roasting in general, and then roasting a watch collection. You know how hard that is, to do. So to come up with like
Wasn't as dirty as the Tom Brady roast, but
right.
Yeah. Did you watch that?
I saw pieces of it. Yeah,
you have to. It's a little long, but there's some
Some
killer
good
sets
stuff.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So I like the video. Love the jokes. The Oris. This is like the one Oris I don't hate. Now, the
It's my
pointer
favorite
date.
horse also.
Yeah. But I do get it now. Like, I never put too much thought into the two-tone, the bronze and the metal, stainless steel, and how like I never thought that of it that of course, the bronze is going to patina, and the stainless steel, if kept in good shape, is going to look ageless, and that how strange that may look. But other than that, I like the watch. I do. I like the cathedral hands. I like the pointer date. The movement is whatever. I mean, I'm not buying a Norris for their movement technology and their
Right.
what they do. I know they have a few in-house movements, but the other two, look, I mean, I really can't really hate on digital display watches. I just can't do it. It's just not for me. The PRX being small is definitely would be a deal breaker for me more so than like the digital display of it all. And the Boulevard, I don't know, man, it's kind of cool looking. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I same critique. As we'll see a little bit later, I have a watch similar to that Tissot, the Cassiotrон. So I can't hate on I like the Cassiotrон much better than the uh, Tissot. I think
Yeah.
Casio leaned into it a little bit more and
Hmm.
just made it a little more fun.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, this watch is boring. It should be like Dennis said, a gold version is a little more interesting and leans
Sure.
into what it is a little bit more, like just 70s cheese all the way.
Yeah.
This is almost taking itself too seriously, so it's not fun at all. Like this should be cheesy and it's just not. It's like too much a normal watch.
Yeah.
So where it's like a gold version for sure. And then yeah, I mean I love the casquette. I think the Computron's really cool as well. The horrible technology. I mean, they could do something to that display. I mean, yeah, the same on the casket. And the casquette's like retailed for almost $5,000. At least
Yeah.
these are a few
Yeah.
$100.
Yeah.
But yeah, that casquette was really cool watch, and I think you were buying it for the nostalgia, and also it
Sure.
was ceramic and titanium, so you were paying a little bit more for that, and it was limited. But yeah, the display of those, you're buying them because you think they're cool, not for the functionality. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that is the only Oris I would probably buy a pointer date
Yeah, I
at
think
this point. But
same here. Same
yeah,
here. I mean, I wouldn't buy it, but I mean, if I had to buy an Oris, I mean that'd be the one. That'd be the
right.
one for sure. Um, well, so we decided to have a little fun with this, didn't we,
Yes.
Clayton? So, so in the spirit of Watch Dennis's video, Clayton had the great idea. It's like, well, why don't we kind of roast our own collections here? And so we picked three watches, or I mean, you picked three watches, and I just sent you my collection's like
Yeah.
5 watches.
Five.
So
So
yeah,
I started with
um,
7, but I was like, that's too many. We'll just do my 3 in the spirit
yeah.
of Dennis's video.
So this is going to be on the fly, right? Because we kind of like you came up with this like 40 minutes before
Right.
but it was a great idea. It was a great idea.
Yeah.
But so I might not be coming out of the gates here in Fuego. But what I would say is, yeah. So you have the Moser here, and I'm sure when Edouard Milan and his designers got together, they were thinking, what would be a great watch for a guy who owns a dog walking business, and they came up with yours,
That's right.
and I can't tell you how many pictures I've seen you on Instagram on dog walks with that watch. I'm sure that's what they really wanted to do.
I think they actually would think that's cool because I think a lot of people probably baby them and keep them in a
Yeah,
safe and don't wear them. So I
right.
think they'd probably actually get a kick out of that.
The Cassiotrон again. I'm going to borrow um, Dennis's line. The '80s called. I know he was referring to two-tone, but the digital display, yeah, it's cool. It looks like something that you'd probably win at a boardwalk, one of those like boardwalk games where they drop
The claw.
the claw down and win, and then you'll like if you just shake it, it falls out, and you end up with a I don't know. Anyway, and finally the the Air King. I can't hate too much on this one because I used to own one, but man, you definitely picked the ugliest Rolex out there, the redheaded stepchild, whatever one you want to call.
That's why I gave you these 3 watches because they're probably the 3 easiest to hate in my collection. So
Yeah.
hoping you bring the fire.
James saying Movado called to say their watch is more relatable. Right, right.
They don't
Okay.
have the backside of that Moser though. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
beautiful
a beautiful watch.
got a beautiful behind.
Okay, all
Oh,
right. So
good, James. That was awesome.
yeah, let's move on to my collection here. What you got, man? What you
All
got?
right. So that Panerai, is that a sandwich dial?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's no surprise. It looks like it's eating a lot of sandwiches. That is one fat watch. Holy crap!
So
Compared to all your other ones, I'm bringing the dad jokes, baby. That's what I got.
stupid.
There's a lot of numerals on these watches, so helps. Must be a millennials collection because they don't know how to read analog time. So very helpful
Right.
here. Not a lot of color going on
Uh,
in the collection. Is that
right.
Zin blue or is that
It's
black?
black. It's black.
Black. But yeah, there's something to be said for blacked out. You know, big German influence here. A couple Swiss big hitters on the bottom. I do love that you've had the Panerai and the GP for what, almost 20 years each. Is that
Yeah,
right?
pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty close to that. Yeah, yeah.
that's awesome. No, this is really cool collection. You have a style that you like. You like chronographs. You know, kind of the same. And I love the Explorer kind of layout too. The 12, 3, 6, and 9. So
Yeah.
I can't get too mean about this. You know what? You're the big German watch guy, so get those Swiss out of there. Get two more German. Fill this thing out. Go all in on your German watch collecting. Come on. And work
Yeah,
on your
yeah.
accent a little bit better too.
Yeah, I know. I know. I can't even I still can't even say Glasuta properly.
But no, that's all I got. It's a awesome collection.
Thank you. James saying, wait, is the red on the hand heart NGP the only color in the collection?
We got some white. Is that not a color? I guess that doesn't count, right?
What's that?
The white subdials on the Zin.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there is. Yeah. Oh man, I know. I don't really have much going on color wise. I mean, like, and it's not like. I mean, like, blue dials are my favorite color dials, right? I just like them, and I don't have any, and yeah, I don't know. It's not
Oh
by
man,
design. Like I don't go and get blacked out watches, but
Bobby's going to be listing all of these this week and adding some color to his collection. Now we've
man, I do want that blue dial
started a spark
Laureato.
here. I
Blue
love
dial
that blue dial. What's the Zin? That's the Navitimer design. That blue one they came out with. What's the number? I can't think of it.
903.
903. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that blue one is fire, man. That thing is nice.
yeah. That is nice. I like what they have done with the reintroduction to that model because
Yeah.
it was off for 2 years. I got German, no Swiss. That's right, Wayman. You have no Swiss. Bobby Legs loves to burn it all down. I do.
We may have set him on that path. Telling him he
I
has no color in his collection at all. Just
man,
black.
I was thinking like ways like how can I make this Laureato purchase budget neutral, and I'm not willing to give up on at least 3 of these watches. I would give up on 2 of them, and it gets me like 40% there, so it's not going to happen. But
What could you get for that GP you have there and the Panerai?
I
Probably
don't
not
know.
much at this point.
No, probably not much. I mean, look, I've seen the GP is in excellent condition. It is it's amazing. I in the beginning I wore the hell out of it, but it's like free of like scuff. Like there's no scuffs on it. It's just amazing. And so I've seen some, well, I don't think they make them anymore, but I've seen some Seahawks listed. I know it's listed, so I don't know what they actually sell for, but for $3,000 to $4,000. You know what I mean? So like I think realistically, like maybe like somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500.
Yeah.
And the Panerai, I don't even know. That's pretty beat up. That's pretty beat up, that watch. But I mean, like I don't even see the money in them anymore. It's so far gone. It's so
Yeah, right.
it's so long. So like I would never sell them, especially. I mean, the Panerai, I bought it from a watchmaker friend of mine who used to work at Panerai. The GP is my first luxury watch, so I wouldn't sell them.
Right.
The 856, the black watch, it's in the middle, top middle, is actually my wife's, but I've been wearing it a lot, so I'm not gonna sell that, of course. So like it'd be like the 903 or the Handheart, but that still wouldn't get me. I mean, I don't want to get rid of those watches either, but I don't know. I do
that's what I'm talking about with like not feeling like spending putting more money into watches right now. It's either got to come out of the collection or I'm not buying anything. And like you, there's nothing that will get me to an expensive watch that I want to sell.
Yeah.
I've thought about the Moser. The Moser's staying for now.
Yeah.
Air King will always be in my collection. That's going to stick around for forever. It was the first Rolex I got at an AD, and was just super fun. And I have a great relationship with her now, so remember that. And yeah, nothing else will get me close if I were to sell it. So might as well just keep them too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, hey, look, that was fun.
Yeah. Got a dad joke in. That was
Yeah, that was good. That was pretty good. Well, hey,
pretty
man,
terrible.
We made it through another episode, man. That
Yeah,
was good.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for
Yeah.
putting the pictures up too. I know I
Yeah.
sent those to you like last minute, so
No
thank you.
worries. Was able to make it happen. Chat. Thank you so much for participating, watching this evening. Really appreciate it. And hey, we'll be back next Sunday. I I, I don't know. I may be going out to dinner late on Sunday, so we may have to push it to Monday.
Yeah,
We'll
I
talk
actually
about it.
have a wrestling pay-per-view I'm going to be watching next Sunday. It
All
should
right.
be over by Sunday night, but yeah, it might be Monday again.
Let's do Monday. All right, so guys, next episode of Watch Soup, a week from tomorrow, Monday night, whatever date that is, the 19th plus 7, 26th of August. Have a great night. Have a great week, and we'll see you guys soon.
Take
Have a
care,
good night.
guys. Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. Bye-bye.